Alright.
Sale.
They got going blue comes. Blues for the Colts first.
Nope, I'm leaving, I gotta go get my orange on it. Bengals fan right there.
All right, thank you all for coming from Jefferson County Board of Tourism. Here, the 20th of October, 2025. Welcome, call the meeting to order. If everyone please stand up, we can do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all for taking your time to show up here this evening. Thank you, board. Has everyone had an opportunity to take a glance, a gander at the minutes that were submitted by Ring?
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Do we have a second?
Second that.
Any discussion? Motion carries. Moving on to the treasurer's report, Dr. David Bramer.
Title that somewhere. So for the month of September, the innkeeper's tax was $100,079.85. Which last September was only 48,000. So it looks like it's over 100% increase, but still, we have not had since June. The innkeeper's tax has been $100,000 or more for the year. We have three invoices. One is for the VMI marketing expenses of $6,550.74. We have one for professional services for $2,073. And that is for the economic impact calculator module. And then we have a travel expense of $196.46. So it'd be just for a evening stay at the convention. Whoops. No. Media mission in Nashville. Or those are the three invoices that have been submitted.
Anyone like to make a motion regarding the treasurer's report as presented?
I make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
A second.
Any discussion? Motion carries. David, thank you. Moving on to partnerships and projects. Just wanted to said it last month and 2 months prior to that. Anyone that is going to apply for our next grant cycle, which will be in March, needs to email me or email someone on this board in advance so you can get on the agenda, so you can take 3, 4, 5 minutes and share with us what you did with the grant monies.
One quick, I guess you could call it a project. Last year, we gave a grant to Visit Madison to purchase wireless equipment to supplement the cell system wireless during festivals. This year, that has been deployed for Rooster Tail, Riverfest, Unbroken Circle, Chautauqua, and now Soup Stew Chili Brew. And based on the responses I've heard from folks, I have heard, count them, 0 complaints of problems getting on the wireless.
That's fantastic.
It was awesome.
That was a real problem.
Great for Chautauqua, especially if you. And no droppings at all this year and like access for shops.
And honestly, like, we talk privately, individually, with friends, as a board. I mean, we always want to be good stewards of this capital. And if there's a new model, a new version, and we can utilize a new one, and with that one, you know, as a complimentary, or we can sell that one and get the newest, latest, and the greatest. It may not be in 25 or 26, but whenever that is, I think that that this was a really good investment.
One of the comments that I heard from, and I'm speaking out of turn because our Chautauqua rep isn't here. But one of the comments that I heard second or third hand from the Chautauqua management was they got responses from their vendors like, wow, you guys are a step above everybody else because almost nobody provides us wireless. And so the vendors were very impressed with the fact that we had the wireless available for them. Where very few other places do. So that elevated the vendor experience. For this year's Chautauqua.
Well, I think if we're providing an experience that others don't, then we will always want to stay ahead of that curve. Yeah. That's great news. Thank you for sharing that, Jim. Does anybody have anything else for partnerships and projects? You have a project that's popping up this week.
Mhm. Yeah, rooftop at Vintage Lanes is gonna be coming online, so we're excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a
Absolutely.
hopefully a tourism boost. And we'll be the first rooftop bar in Madison. So we're excited.
Thank you for moving the needle, Matt. Seriously.
Never ends. We're trying to make it.
What's the next project?
No. Yeah.
No rest for the week. Moving on to VMI update.
Awesome. Well, I'll go first this time and then Sarah will come in. We're kind of changing it up each week. You don't know what to expect. Is Sarah going first or am I? I've got a report here. I went ahead and put together an actual report for you. This is a little bit different than what I've done. I've given just a verbal report. I've got a, yeah,
I got you.
and gonna try to do this every single month. We do have some numbers I'd like to include. Some of those I'd sent out in an email, to you guys, not too long ago. But it just, the way that these meetings, the timing falls, I don't have all those numbers from especially occupancy, for this, but, put together a report. Like you saw, September was a really good month, for us, as far as visitation. You saw it in the innkeeper's tax collection numbers. We saw it also in the placer data. I think that was buoyed by obviously Unbroken Circle. That was a huge weekend that when I started looking at the placer data, it said that the number of people from over 50 miles away was somewhere like over 16,000% higher than last year. Well, that's because Bicentennial, you might have had 2 or 3 people, and instead there was 4,000. So it was interesting to see those percentages. The placer couldn't even calculate them. So that was good. We were also helped by a lot of really good weather in September. So
Yeah.
that was very positive. That momentum's carried into October. I think we'll be pleased to see the numbers again when those come out in November for October. I included some event data here, including for Unbroken Circle, Cannon Fall Festival. This is just very basic placer data, but wanted to include just some basic numbers for you. I do think a couple of them have come in a little lower than I anticipated. I mean, Chautauqua seemed like it was just almost a record-breaking year as far as the amount of people in town. And yet the placer numbers showed it was pretty normal, I guess I should say. I don't want to call it average. I guess average or normal. It wasn't.
It lived up to a normal, like, Chautauqua weekend, when you look back at the average of some years of having around 60,000 people in those 3 days, like it was up there with those.
Yeah. So, 60,000 for the entire community in the downtown historic district, 38.5. So we're right around that 40,000 people number. So that was it was good. You know, I talked to some business owners that said it was an amazing weekend. It was awesome. I talked to a few that said it wasn't as good. Retail mostly. Of course, we've got some retailers I think could probably speak to that, you know, good, bad. It seems to be very dependent on the type of business. Restaurants seem to all say it was really
It
good.
was good.
Yeah,
Usually it's not when there's an event like that in town. Usually we don't have that much business. We were covered up the whole weekend.
so it's, you know, overall, I think that's why the numbers being just about on average, it was kind of surprising. The other thing, if you went down to Soup Stew Chili and Brewed, Soup Stew was packed.
Yeah.
And yet again, the numbers show a pretty typical soup stew.
Mhm.
So I don't know if they've changed something with the algorithm with Placer. That's a question that I have for them, to try and learn more. I know some of the reports are looking a little bit different, so wouldn't surprise me. They're always tweaking things. And I think I told you, you know, what kind of bothers me about it is when I start putting together some of these numbers, I put them into a spreadsheet and I go, all right, that's the number for August. And then if I've run the August report again, coming up in November, well, they've gotten more data, they've improved their numbers, so that number's changed. So then I'm afraid that when I start reporting these numbers, and I print off a new sheet, somebody's gonna go, well, you were lying to me when you said what it was. I said, no, it was that then, but they keep tweaking it, and so that's.
But that's good
frustrating.
information.
Yeah, so it doesn't change a ton, but it changes just enough to bother me, that it looks different every time I run the report, so,
Before you carry on, Andrew.
yeah.
During those, you know, Chautauqua, homecoming, how were the trolleys?
Good, you know, we had, so I'll go through, like, we didn't use them for anything related to Unbroken.
Okay.
Chautauqua, we used it as a connector to Hanover College.
Right.
Got some decent ridership, was just on Saturday. It did okay. Not overwhelming,
Okay.
but, you know, I think it took some pressure off of people trying to come down from Hanover, especially there was the one lane there out by Clifty Falls. We actually had record ridership for the shuttle buses that were up at the high school
Yeah,
for
there was
Chautauqua.
tons of people at the high school.
It was wild. So trolley did okay for that.
But that just, you know,
Yeah,
trolley's new.
Yep.
And if you remember, parking up at the high school a few years ago, it was minimal.
Yeah.
But after a while, it starts to become a part of that weekend, a part of that festival. They can now expect it. They weren't expecting the trolleys. you know.
exactly. And there were a couple other things that we were hoping to do. We've had some issues with drivers. One person had a family emergency, another person got sick, another person we're really struggling to find drivers, so if I can ask anything is if you know anybody with a CDL with a passenger endorsement, send them our way. Cause it's limiting in some ways what we're able to do. The other thing that somewhat limited what we could do as far as public routes and up to Hanover and back is that we had them rented out for private events.
Yeah.
And so that's always gonna be that balance. You know, I think this year, because we weren't sure when we were gonna get the second trolley and when it was gonna be here, we kind of held back a little bit and we said, we're not gonna commit to doing a bunch of public routes because we don't know if we're gonna have it. I think when we have these big public events, I think we need to do more of those public routes, rather than having private events, but it's a tough balance to try and do, so.
Do you feel like the private events are lucrative?
They are, and I mean, they're serving their own purpose, to serve guests that are here for weddings. A lot of times it's weddings, but other times it's another private event. It's a group, that's here for, like we had, actually during Soup Stew weekend, we had a large group that was down at the Fairfield. And it was a church conference that was in town for 10 days. So, there's other things that it's still serving a purpose in a tourism way, but it's maybe not that public free route.
Yeah.
So,
I've had 3 different people ask me if the trolley if the trolleys would consider doing a Bourbon Trail route. I've had three totally random, different people bring that up and ask if the trolleys do a Bourbon Trail. I don't know, I thought that was interesting.
That's funny, JD and I have talked about that.
Had a conversation about
Yeah.
Funny,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're working on programming for 26. Lindsay's leading that charge and, she just got me a draft of what the programming looks like. We've talked a little bit about it and so that's great timing.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
we're taking feedback from people, ideas, suggestions. We had, somebody from one of the local hotels that called and said, would you consider doing this kind of event? We said, that's a great idea. Let's do it. So we're still trying to encourage everybody, give us ideas. How can the trolley support, businesses, attractions, HMI, I think, there's gonna be some more discussions about what we can continue to do to support our museums, with the trolley. So those are still forthcoming and it's all part of learning about this as we go. So hopefully you've liked what you've seen so far though with the trolleys, so. I won't go through all the rest of the details, you can read some of this, but do wanna be sure to introduce, I don't think he's a stranger to any of you. But wanna be sure to introduce JD Webster, he is our new, group tour and sales manager. So we're really excited to have him on board, I don't know if you have anything you wanna say tonight?
Thank you for your support. Looking forward to born and raised out of Madison. I think you all know that, so. Get to sell Madison every day. What a hard sell, right? No, I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to it. No, I'm looking forward to working with all the hotel and vendor partnerships. So know them all through event fundraising or mostly through event fundraising, but now working to support Madison.
So he jumped in, hit the ground running, you've got a press release there that, I'll get sent out to, you all and to the, city council, county council and commissioners as well, just so make sure we're communicating about that, but I'm excited.
We're really glad you're part of it.
Yes, yeah, you'll get it. He jumped right in and, went along with us on the Celebration Bell trip that we had. And that was a phenomenal trip. I couldn't be more pleased, with how that went. You can see a picture there. We welcomed over 200 people to join us for that trip. You might remember, we started out with 50 tickets and then I had to add another 50. We ended up with 200 people that went. And I originally thought this was going to be, it was something for locals. We hear about it from locals all the time that say, we want a boat trip. And so I said, this will be great. We'll do this and it'll help be something for locals to enjoy. Actually, we ended up with about 70% visitors on that. And when I did the survey afterward, 40% of the people who took the survey said they stayed 2 or more nights in Madison because of it. Because it was a very early morning to get on, got back at 8 o'clock, so they stayed Monday night and Tuesday night, a lot of them. That's a Monday and Tuesday that they're staying in Madison. So,
Great.
it went really, really well. And hopefully we can do it again if that boat comes through on the way to that event in Cincinnati. If not, JD and I are working on something else to get a boat here, so. Like I said, he's hit the ground running. That was your first official day,
It was.
going on the celebration.
I mean, I'm a boater anyway, so boy, twist my arm, I got to ride a 6 boat, talk to people, wow, tough first day.
I told him not to expect every day like that.
Yeah.
And then we went over to the America's River Roots Festival, which was why we had the Celebration Bell coming through. I'm really pleased with that booth. I know I mentioned we would be over there. We had a chance to give out between 600 and 800 visitor guides. I lost count of how many boxes I took over there. I know there was 600. There might have been 800, but we gave away a lot of guides. At those leisure shows, guides usually they aren't the first thing people pick up. They're after all of the little goodies that you give away. So for us to give away that many visitor guides was really amazing. Sarah worked it, JD worked it, our entire team was a part of that process. We were very happy with the familiarity of the people in Cincinnati. We got great reviews from the people that were there. And, you know, I don't want to brag too much, but our booth was packed.
We were pretty popular.
Your
Every
booth
single
looks
day.
really engaging. It looks really good.
Thank
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks
Yeah.
amazing. So I
So-
could,
Good job.
And I brought you some of the goodies that we gave away.
rocks.
Rocks, because Madison rocks. And that can be, you know, because.
You bought us a bag of rocks? What are you sitting at?
You know, it could be something like,
Andrew, that's pretty legit.
the music movement. They were originally supposed to be river rocks.
Yeah.
And then it was like, we started telling people, they said, why rocks? And we were like, because Madison rocks. And they just looked at us and they were like, okay.
Okay.
So we did that. We also,
To tie in the river roots, the fact that we're a river community like Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then I would go right from saying that to, and here's our trail mix, because we have lots of trails, and they all went, wow, you know, they're like, you guys are clever, and I was like, we know.
it was really good. And, another thing that we did, we handed out wooden nickels, to people that were over there. The goal of this was to try and see how many people came back to Madison. Because, you know, we can talk to them all day, they can all express their intent to say, oh, we really want to come back to Madison. We have no clue how many of them actually come back. So we handed these out, and on the back it says redeem for a free gift at the visitor center. And we've already had 4 people come in, bring their wooden nickel from this event. So we know that those people have come back.
Like that.
So it was just a thing we thought we'd try, see what kind of, response we get, and so far it was pretty cool.
That's great.
Good idea. Yeah.
Well done.
Pretty successful, so, we had about 2,000 people near our tent over the course of those 4 days, according to Placer. So, you know, if we engaged 800 to 1,000 of them, that's pretty good. You know, the amount of, people we got to engage with us. We got a couple hundred people signed up for our email list. And then you saw, I didn't write this in here, but had the media mission down in Nashville, Tennessee. Met with members of the media down there that we can try and get up here to do some stories about Madison, so go in that direction. That was put on by the Indiana Destination Development Corporation, so. Anyway, you can see also on the last page where we are with some of our strategic plan items. Rather than printing our entire strategic plan for you, just thought I'd put the kind of the reminder of each of the goals in there, and then what we've been doing in each of those categories to try to make a difference in each of those areas. So, that was a really long report. But,
Thank you for this information.
There is one thing I want to call out before
Yeah.
we move on with the report, and I noticed you put it in here. Reviewing Riverfest and
Uh-huh.
evaluating.
mhm,
I'm sure you guys are already doing this, but I had another conversation with someone recently. We do have a lot of music events
mhm.
happening in Madison. And I don't know if there's an opportunity, if there's something where you're reevaluating Riverfest, if there's an opportunity to merge it to make it more viable with another festival. Just a thought, I mean,
Perfect timing. We're having those conversations now. We wanted to wait and see what the final financials were and everything, so we're getting those wrapped up and having some conversations right now.
cool.
So good timing. All right, thank you all.
Andrew, thank you. Sarah, Praisel, did y'all know that? That's how you say her last name, Praisel. It's not Purcell. I've said Purcell for 3 or 4 years.
Have to.
It's not, it's praise, like appraisal without an A. Yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
Yeah. Honor, thank you. Oh goodness, I will have you guys a written report here in the next week as I get that prepared for the other board as well, so I send it off. So I'll start off, the last report I sent you guys, I showed you guys that we had gotten this, I wanted to physically hand you one. So designed this map to go along with River Roads and our motor trail efforts. And so I'll just head right into we hosted Roadrunner, the Roadrunner team, the prestigious motorcycle magazine that we've been working with for the last 3 years. I think I mentioned to you guys that we were asked to be a Shamrock tour. If you're familiar with what that is, the magazine has them in the back, and it's printed on cardstock, and they're perforated, and motorists look forward to those. They tear them out, they keep them in their vehicles or motorcycles, and they plan trips around them. And so, when we were asked to be this, I've actually, what's his name is in here, Josh, they stepped up to host them for 5 nights. So they were here 2 weeks ago, and they came, and they went on different trails, and they're curating these Shamrock tours that will be printed in early summer 26. And the impact that communities see over being a Shamrock tour is astronomical. And so we're really excited of what that's gonna look like and be. So, more to come on that. Been working on 26 Experience Madison Marketing, getting quotes for the guide, different things going on on that level. Executed everything Chautauqua, finishing up all things, reporting. So this was my first time ever advertising with streaming TV. And so I just had a big recap meeting on that this last Thursday, and we're already in that same meeting, talked about what we're gonna do for nights for the grant that you guys gave them to increase that advertising. But it was overall really, really successful. 122,000 impressions, highly effective. The creative was highly effective, as well as audience engagement to those key drive markets. We had a frequency of 3.1, which is above the benchmark. So, they've seen it at least 3 times. We had 491 tracked website conversions. And so they are able to track, because of streaming TV and knowing, the data. 491 people went on the website, because I put pixels on pages, and I have the breakdown of how many went to the homepage, how many went to volunteering, et cetera, et cetera. And I can share all of this when I get done with my major Chautauqua report and share what those details are. And then we had 1,808 people come to the actual footprint. It's called Footfall. And so, how many people, they've tracked all the way down here. And my original report had 1,708, but then they realized that they were picking up people that came on Friday. So there was 100 plus more people that they were able to track that came early. And I said, well, we have, that weekend's huge. We have Old Court days, and all the different things that going on. So just a big weekend. So excited to dive into that even more and share. And then nights we're going to do social mirroring, which is on all kinds of other different websites. It shows up, and they're able to track that even more. And we'll layer that with all kinds of stuff. So it's a lot of information, but really excited about that. And that's something that I plan to do with the destination marketing. So as we get into the next year and the next few years, to go after that. So continue marketing with the trolleys. And I'm again full throttle in right now with nights and that whole entire plan. And we're gonna do some YouTube on this one. So just really excited about these new things that we're trying, and thankful for your support on those plans. Again, I will have a whole entire report for you here in a week, but those are the big highlights. I've been working on our 2026 strategic plan, marketing plan, and the budget. So that's stuff you guys will be involved with here soon. And I'm excited to share what we want to do there, incorporating AI and expanding on the TV and just all kinds of good stuff, so.
I think it's great. I love the innovation. I love that you're trying the streaming and the AI, and I think that's really important right now, and I think it gives us a really good edge. So thank you guys for all your commitment to
Yeah,
trying
you're-
to dipping your toe in these waters, because
Well, you're welcome, and it pays to go to these, different, professional developments, because one of the things I learned, some low hanging fruit, is I've asked our staff to, what are the frequently asked questions that we get from visitors? It's as simple as being able to tell, these AI bots about our community, but let's go ahead and answer the questions for them, so they're gonna see it. So some low hanging fruit that anybody can do in your business, is to come up with those FAQs and make a landing page on your website for them. And that way, it's looking for that. And so that's just something simple that we're creating here in the background until we're able to fully integrate an AI model. And then that's just, the homework for that is I'm cut out for that. I mean, it's gonna be a lot, just figuring out, there's so many different bells and whistles out there to use on a free level, but those are the ones, it's just best that you go with, models and things that have been, tracked and have the performance to show behind it, but anyway. You would have thought I was talking a long time, I sound like a frog. Okay. That's it for now, and if you guys have any questions when I send you the report, feel free to ask any questions.
thank you.
Thank you.
Got a lot of positive, great things going on right now, folks. We're definitely in a pretty good place.
Yeah.
Well. We have Tourism Alliance Committee updates. Our next meeting is, I've got my calendar,
Wednesday at 9,
Wednesday at 9.
History and Art Center.
Yep, History and Arts Center. Anything we need to be updated or aware of prior to that meeting, or?
I was just gonna, comment on the Chautauquaness, so we had the Shrewsbury House open. We get all of that, not all of it, but a lot of that foot traffic, and it was a banner year for us, just getting people into the building. But the shuttle buses went by, and I could not be more thrilled that I didn't have an issue getting staff parked. I didn't have any of that because people were using those buses. And that is a huge, huge, huge thing for locals. Because we can't park on Chautauqua weekend. We can't get anywhere. We got chairs out. We look like we're in downtown Chicago and we're fighting over things. But because people were using those shuttles, that alleviated such a huge issue. And, they would all drive by and we'd be like, look at that, there's people getting on the shuttle and leaving. We'd see the bus get off and then there'd be a whole line of people. I mean, that was just really, really helpful, and I'm so glad that it worked. Because it was a huge relief for everyone in the neighborhood and everyone around, that worked out, so. That was all I was gonna say.
That's great. That's great feedback.
Yeah, and like you said, there's the continuity of doing it every year that people look for it, but I also edited for the first time to a hyper local campaign on Facebook. So I did 2-mile radius, like anybody that was downtown or whatever, they would see that there was a shuttle. So it was, if that was a little bit of extra effort
Yeah.
that went into that, but. Like,
Huge results,
That's
I-
great.
many locals were like, did you see the bus? It was full. And I was like, I know, how great is that? We were all just so excited, and it was a huge, huge relief for traffic and for people to be downtown. It just made downtown so much more enjoyable when you don't have to worry about dealing with all that traffic or road closures or any of that other stuff that we've had in the past. So truly commendable.
Yes, thank you for that, Sarah, thank you for that extra effort. Those are the little things, thank you. JD, welcome again. Andrew, great report. Bob's good to see you. It's always good to see you. Anybody got anything else? Happy Halloween. What are you dressing up as?
You see it.
A city council. Yeah, dadgummit. Anybody have any updates? We have a good board. Well, our next meeting is November 17th. And if anybody doesn't have anything else, make a motion to adjourn the meeting. First,
So
second,
moved.
so moved. Sounds good.